Hey guys, this is Demigo coming at you again. This time I'm going to be using my sort for today's video. Anyway, what this one is going to be is crafting for conquest. This is an immediate follow-up to my previous video, which is just a overview of galactic conquest for guilds. So this one I'm going to be going over just a few things, how to gather mats, a strategy for crafting, a few things in regards to crafting, because crafting is the easiest way to gain your personal conquest goal. So looking at it, again, this is done just a day after my previous video, and as you see, crafting bonuses are fairly useful. With my stronghold bonus, crafting bonus, I would get 1500 conquest points per war supply crafted, so it is an excellent way to make points in a hurry. Alright, so the first thing, to give you an idea, the way that I gather mats for conquest, I only save the 3 highest quality mats. And what that is the grade 5, 6, and 9. And what that is going to be is artifact fragments on archaeology here, power crystals, artifacts, power crystals be down here, and then grade 5 will have artifacts and power crystals yet again. So the trick for gathering in these mats that a lot of people don't realize is there are 2 separate grade 5 mats for each. For example, these and these. This is a high quality grade 5 mat. This is a low quality grade 5 mat. The same thing I believe happens on grade 3 and I believe maybe one other grade. Grade 1 is the only grade not used for crafting except for artifact fragments as far as I can remember. But I save the highest quality mats. The way that you get the higher quality more so than these lower quality is you're going to be looking at these titles right here. Rich Yield Artifact Fragments. It gives a higher percentage drop to give the alien artifact fragments as opposed to the hypertech artifact fragments. Trust me, you want these a whole lot more if you're going to be doing this the way I do. Power crystals, same way, gives a higher drop for the diamond crystals as opposed to the fawn crystals. That's just the way it works. So at level 60 or at level 56 you unlock your 6th companion to send out. My advice is to just do a toon rotation of sending out crew skills. That's the easiest way to gather in mats. I've calculated it. If you do just the high quality mats like I do, you spend somewhere between 10 and 15,000 credits for each toon that you send out. Sounds like a lot, but there's kind of a trick to it, and I'll get into that in just a minute. My advice is to use all toons possible. Even if you've got a toon that's not leveled up but has 3 or 4 companions and has the gathering skill leveled up, it's better just to go ahead and get the mats if you've got the money to do it as opposed to not. What I advise for sending out companions here is when you look through, look for the Rich Yield. That is your #1 priority to send out for those because they drop the highest number of mats, give you the best reward for your money. Bountiful Yield is next, and I do not believe I currently have one of those to show you. After Bountiful Yield there will be Abundant Yield, and on the grade 6 mats, and this goes the same for scavenging, bioanalysis, archaeology, all the same, grade 6 only comes in abundant. So if you're going to get it, typically for archaeology for example, there's going to be 1 abundant artifact fragment, 1 abundant power crystal, 1 moderate yield power crystal, which is the lowest yield is moderate yield, and those are going to be the only ones you have available. Kind of odd, but they do stack up fairly quickly if you can consistently send out for them. Avoid power crystals, avoid cloths and things like that. You don't need those for conquest crafting. They're not worth your time really. So once you gather these mats, I advise storing them in cargo bay or legacy bay. I'll show you how I stack mine just for example, and this is not my entire supply. This is what I just keep in my legacy bay currently. I keep scavenging and archaeology in the same, and I throw random stuff at the top. The way I stack is right to left. You put full stacks on the right and stack it going to the left, because as you're crafting, the game can automatically take out of your cargo and legacy bay when you are crafting, and it removes from left to right. It's just an OCD thing for me. I like to keep it organized, laid out good. And what I do to kind of offset the cost of crafting is a few things. As you see, I have a ton of mats. I stock up a lot on a fairly regular basis. So what I do is I occasionally take a few stacks of mats that I'm stacking up maybe quicker than the rest of them, or maybe my guild's not trying that hard for conquest like it has been this week, and I'm taking some extra mats that I'm getting in and putting them on the GTN for sale, because ever since conquest came out, mat cost has skyrocketed in the SWTOR economy. So my advice is sell them on the GTN to offset your cost just a little bit. Also on the grade 5, I mentioned that you get high grade and low grade. As you see, I'm gathering rich and bountiful yield, and I'm still getting a mixture of both. These actually do sell on the GTN as well, because they are used for lower quality crafting. If you're doing like me and only crafting the higher grade mats, you don't need these. You can sell the lower quality grade 5 power crystals and artifact fragments on the GTN and make some money. It helps offset the cost. I typically have very little problem offsetting my cost of crafting with the conquest rewards and selling some extra mats here and there on the GTN, and it allows me to stock up on multiple mats at one time. So that is how to gather mats the easiest way. Again, use basically every companion you have possible. You'll have 6 available. If you have Treek HK, that helps out a lot, saves you a lot of time. Typically, and this is another thing, having your affection up on your companions makes them go out quicker, has a chance for it to be a critical reward. It makes it fail less often. That's something, if you've got the time, have the companion gifts and stuff to do, it is nice to do, but it is rather time consuming. So I've went over storing your mats. It's a good way to store your mats, gathering in highest quality. There's another way to gather in mats, which is farming on planets. You go to different planets with the gathering skills and manually walk around and find a little node sitting around and pick up crafting. And I know a few people in this game that do that, and it annoyed me to no extent, because that is beyond time consuming. I would rather be sending out my companions while raiding, PvPing, things like that, as opposed to just walking around a planet doing nothing but looking for crafting. Horribly boring. I don't recommend it unless you got just a ton of time to kill. Other than that, a quick strategy for crafting. For conquest here, we've got different the 2 different war supplies for my synth weaving here, and as you see, it takes grade 5, 6, 9, grade 5, 6, and 9 respectively. There are also the lower quality here that I do not stack, 2, 3, and 2, 4, 5, 3. You see there's different ones for each type of mat here. Grade 1 artifact fragments, like I mentioned, is the only one that is used. But anyway, it's up to you which ones you craft. My advice for crafting, though, is a little bit odd compared to what most people do. The recommendation some guilds have is, if you have the mat supply that you don't need to keep sending out your companions through the week, you send out for your regular war supplies as you play the game through the day. When you go to bed at night, set a few invasion forces, because they do count as regular war supplies. And as you see, I've got a ton of the war supplies ready to go, but it's one of those, they're not very useful because they take so long to craft. If you go to sleep, you're not going to be on the game for, say, 3 hours. You have enough time to craft 3 invasion forces per companion. That's not that great, but it is somewhat useful. So it is possible to do it that way and make some points overnight with just invasion forces while saving your quicker mats. As you see here, with a companion that's affection is full up, it takes 51 minutes to send out for 1 war supply. Those are nice to do. Typically, the way I do crafting is I set a bunch of crafting at night when I go to bed, typically war supply, invasion forces. Somehow I do some mixture of it, and whatever companions are not sent out crafting, I send out for crew skills. And then while I'm playing the game, the following day, I collect my crafting and then start sending out companions and try to keep a mat supply going. Now, if my guild is in a close fight, I don't have that privilege. I have to send out some companions crafting, some gathering mats, to try to continue to kind of offset opposing guild scores. So it's a bit mixed on how you have to craft and do for conquest. Just kind of a steady pace of conquest crafting. That way you don't drop all of your mats at one time is recommended, because in all honesty, you can sit here and if you have 6 companions, you send out 5 war supplies for each. That's 30 war supplies. Now if you're like me and you have multiple level 60s, you could send out 4 or 5 doing that. You're looking at a lot of mats in a very short period of time that are just going to be gone. You're going to get a big conquest boost, but it's going to shoot you way up in the score, but then you're going to have nothing to fall back on because you're out of mats. So try to keep a steady pace if nothing else, or if you have a lot of mats, like I'm stocking up now to do a couple big just crafting drops and it's not going to hurt me. That's kind of what I'm preparing for now, just to see how that works. So there's a few different strategies for it, but my main advice on this is consistently send out your companions. Don't ignore them. A lot of people ignore the crew skills, don't pay them much attention. Myself, I've got each of the special gathering skills: investigation, diplomacy, treasure hunting, etc. on at least one toon, and then all of my additional toons after that I have picked archaeology, scavenging, bioanalysis, archaeology, some combination of those 3. That way I can continuously send out on multiple toons gathering skills to stock up mats. With 12 times XP now, I know a lot of people are leveling multiple 60s. It's good while leveling just to do a quick rotation, take 10 minutes out of your time, send out companions on your toon, then go back and continue leveling. It's not a bad idea, and you'll stock up mats in a hurry, and then when it comes time to craft for Conquest, you'll be good to go. So that gives you a quick rundown of crafting for Conquest, just kind of an idea of how I do it. I know I rambled some in this, but hopefully just seeing it and hearing me explain a little bit of how I personally do crafting for Conquest, that maybe it'll help you figure it out. Thanks for watching. Cheers, guys.